Hey, what's up everyone? John here from testprepinsight.com, and today I'm going to be comparing the language apps from Babbel and Mondly. I covered this very same topic in a video about a year ago, but since that video went live, both of these companies have actually made some updates and changes to their programs, especially Mondly with them being acquired by Pearson, so I thought this video needed a redo. So today we're going to take a fresh look at how Babbel and Mondly compare, and I'll let you know which one I think is better. And by the way, I should just mention up front here that since I'll just be focusing on the major highlights in this video, if you find you need more detail at any point, you can always check out our full detailed written comparison of these two apps over on our website. An easy way to get there is just to Google Test Prep Insight, Babbel vs. Mondly. It's a quick way to find it. Okay, so right out of the gate, I want to break down how each app works. This will help to provide a baseline for my thoughts about each of these two apps, which I'll get to here in a minute. So let's start with Mondly. When you first log into the Mondly app, you're going to land on the dashboard, which looks kind of like a giant map covered in geolocation pins. It's a little overwhelming at first, but really each geolocation pin is just a collection of 8 lessons that covers a specific topic or theme. Think travel, romance, school, topics like that. But you don't just work through these geo pins one lesson at a time. In addition to these lessons, there's always a daily lesson. This is sort of the baseline of the Mondly program. Every day you're given a daily lesson to complete, and when you finish it, it'll be marked off on the dashboard and it'll start a countdown clock until the next day's daily lesson is ready. This is sort of the backbone of the Mondly program. You do one daily lesson every single day, and then you can work through those thematic lessons in the geo pins as you want. And as for what the lessons themselves are like, whether you're talking about the daily lesson or a lesson from the map, they're all basically the same in terms of length, format, and content. Each Mondly lesson takes about 5 minutes to complete and is comprised of a series of hands-on rapid-fire drills. There's flashcard type drills, fill in the blanks, speaking drills, translation exercises, matching pairs, back and forth little conversations, spelling drills, and a few more. Basically, it's just a bunch of fast-moving, highly diverse exercises. And when the lesson is over, Mondly gives you a quick recap of the vocab from the lesson in rapid succession, and then a quick snapshot of your performance data. And honestly, that's sort of it. There are some weekly quizzes and monthly challenges, and Mondly does have some upgraded features like VR and AR apps, but if you're talking about the core program, you just work your 5-minute daily lesson, get your little review and recap, and then you're free to knock off other lessons on the map as you want. Now, moving over to Babbel, their program is a little different from Mondly's. Rather than landing on a map where you can kind of pick and choose what lessons to do, Babbel keeps you on a pretty linear learning path. Every day when you log in, you'll be prompted to do a quick spaced review of a vocab that you've already learned, and then you jump into the next lesson on the path. And as for what the Babbel lessons are like, each one is generally a little longer and more comprehensive than Mondly's lessons. Though the Babbel lessons contain a lot of the same fast-moving blended exercises like listen and repeat exercises, digital flashcards, fill in the blanks, matching pairs, matching phrases to images, and completing mock conversations, each lesson generally takes about 15 minutes to complete, which is probably 3 times longer than an average Mondly lesson. And part of the reason that Babbel lessons are a little longer is because Babbel layers grammar instruction directly into the lessons. With Mondly, there is no direct grammar instruction in the program, just quick hit interactive exercises. With Babbel though, each lesson is a little bit more fulsome because you get the same hands-on drills, plus direct teaching points about grammar and other important issues. Babbel will mix in these points through direct teaching slides, as well as call-out boxes intermittently throughout the exercises. But from a high level, that's how the two apps compare. Both companies use rapid-fire exercises as the basis of their lessons, but while Mondly lessons are a little tighter and cut out grammar, Babbel leans on the grammar a little harder and their lessons are a little longer as a result. And by the way, like I said, I'm trying to keep this video a little shorter and higher level, so if you find you need more detail on either program's lessons, make sure to check out that full detailed written comparison I mentioned. I'll have it linked down below in the description for you. Alright, so before I get into what I like and don't like about each of these apps, let's quickly talk about cost. So Mondly has 3 different packages to choose from. A 1-month pay-as-you-go package, a 12-month subscription, and a lifetime access package. The pay-as-you-go 1-month subscription runs for around $10 per month. The 12-month subscription costs $48 for the year, i.e. $4 per month. And the lifetime package is a little all over the place in terms of pricing, and it really depends on current sales. Sometimes though, you can find that package on sale for a shade under $100 with a coupon though. Then, Babbel has a pretty similar model. They've got a 3-month, 6-month, and 12-month subscription plan. Those plans all range from $6 to $12 per month depending on the package and discounts. And similar to Mondly, they also have a lifetime plan which includes access to all Babbel languages. That typically goes for $300. So in terms of pricing, Mondly is cheaper than Babbel by a few bucks per month. It's not a huge cost gap. Either way, you're probably looking at $4 to $10 per month depending on the package, but that might be enough to make a difference to some people. But no matter which company you go with, I would just encourage you to check for sales and coupons before buying. We track both companies' sales calendars and they're both almost always running some sort of deal or special promotion, and you can usually knock a few bucks off with Babbel and Mondly. In fact, I'll drop any current discounts that I can find floating around on the internet down below in the description for you, so make sure to check that out before buying. You might be able to save a few bucks if one of these apps ends up being a good fit for you. Okay, so now let's get into my thoughts on the pros and cons of each app, and let's start with Babbel. So the first thing I want to talk about in Babbel's favor is vocab review. So both companies actually have review functions, but in my opinion, Babbel's is much better than Mondly's. On the surface, Mondly's vocab review tool looks really cool. It's this brain feature with little clusters of words which are all grouped by topic, and you can dive in and look at all words that you've learned. It's a very sleek tool. However, it's just not that practical. Going in and reviewing is totally self-driven. There's no labels on any of the brain clusters, so you don't know what you're reviewing, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. With Babbel, however, everything is very purposeful. Every day when you log in, they give you a spaced review. The words you're reviewing are sequenced at lengthening intervals so that they stick. Plus, you get to choose how you want to review: listening, flashcards, speaking, or writing. It's a very effective review framework. Then, the second thing I want to talk about in Babbel's program that I like over Mondly is their focus on grammar. Like I said, Mondly really shies away from the grammar. They do have these little verb conjugation charts which are useful, but otherwise it's kind of on you to pick up grammar intuitively. Now in contrast, Babbel is much more holistic in giving you coverage on both vocab and grammar. The reality is that you can't become proficient in a new language without both of these elements, and Mondly is just light on the grammar side. If all you need is vocab or you learn more intuitively like how Mondly does things, then Mondly's perfect for that. But if you're trying to learn a language from scratch or close to, you're gonna need a hefty dose of both elements. And if you're trying to just pick one app, Babbel should be the choice. Alright, so the third and final advantage of the Babbel app that I want to talk about is lesson progression. Babbel is really good about starting with 1 and 2 word building blocks and working up from there. They bring you along very slowly as a beginner and really focus on fundamentals before advancing to longer sentences and conversations. However, Mondly is about the opposite. Rather than warming up and building up to more advanced vocab and sentence structures, they just drop you right in and you start learning full sentences. There is a slight warm-up with the basics in the lessons of the first 2 or 3 pins on the map, but otherwise you're just kind of tossed in. Even your first daily lesson assumes you have some working knowledge. If you have any level of basic understanding of the language that you're learning, you'll be just fine. But if you're a complete beginner, I personally think Babbel gives you a stronger base from the get-go. Alright, so that's where Babbel beats Mondly. Now let's switch sides and cover the major advantages in favor of Mondly. But before I get to that, I should just mention that every single month here at Test Prep Insight, we actually give away a free language learning course to one lucky person. Super simple to enter. Everyone out there is eligible. I'll put all the details down below in the description on how to get entered, but just know it takes like 10 seconds and hey, you never know. You could win a free subscription to Babbel or Mondly. Alright, so the first highlight of the Mondly program that I want to call out is how they give you a quick recap at the end of every lesson. Essentially, when you complete a Mondly lesson, they quickly run you through a review session where they recap each word or phrase that you learned in that unit. There's usually around 10 to 15 key phrases, and Mondly will run you through them in like 20 seconds. It's a small detail, I know, but it's just a nice way to drive home what you just learned. I think Babbel would be smart to add a quick recap like this at the end of their lessons. Then, the next thing that I want to highlight is the fun, diverse mixture of drills that Mondly uses. Babbel has a pretty decent mix of exercises themselves, but Mondly's drills are a little bit more diverse and keep things fun and engaging. Like I said a couple minutes ago, you've got flashcard drills, fill in the blanks, speaking exercises, translation prompts, matching pairs, back and forth text-based dialogues, spelling drills, and a few more. It's a really solid blend of hands-on drill types that juices up engagement with the program. And then, lastly, sort of piggybacking on that same point, I like how fast-paced Mondly's lessons are. This can be a good or bad thing depending on what you're looking for in your program, but for a lot of people, these short, bite-sized lessons will be a good fit. Your daily lesson only takes 5 minutes, and then if you want to squeeze in a couple more thematic lessons throughout the day, those only take 5 minutes as well each. In contrast, a Babbel review alone takes about 5 minutes, and then you've still got the 15-minute lesson on top of that. So you're looking at about 20 minutes a day with Babbel. So from this perspective, if you're more so looking for consistency day to day with shorter, bite-sized lessons than you are for depth or time studying, then Mondly will be more manageable. But anyway, that about does it for the detail in this comparison. So let's get to the final verdict. Should you choose Babbel or Mondly? Well, it's a tough call because I do like both apps, but if it came down to it and I could only pick one, I would personally go with Babbel. I think their program is more well-rounded overall with its inclusion of grammar teaching points, and I like the structure better as well. They start with the building blocks and then keep you on a linear path, working your way up from there, progressing every day. Now, that being said, I do think some people might benefit from Mondly a little bit more, specifically if you already have a starting basis in the language you're learning, or you're just looking for shorter, more bite-sized lessons each day. In that case, Mondly might be a good fit, but if you're starting from scratch or kind of starting over and have time for 15-minute lessons, I would go with Babbel. I am a big fan of their app. But anyway, that's all I've got for you. I hope this video has been helpful and you learned a little something about both Babbel and Mondly. If so, make sure to return the favor by subscribing to our channel, liking this video, and dropping me a quick comment below. That would be really appreciated. And again, if you want to see that full detailed written comparison of these two apps that I mentioned earlier in this video, just hop on over to our website, testprepinsight.com, or check out the other videos on our YouTube channel. We got a bunch of great content out there. But as always, thanks for watching, best of luck, and I'll see you in the next one.